Hey, what's up, everybody? This lesson is basically, I'm going to call it Modes Made Simple for Guitar. And it's really meant for guitar players that have started doing some soloing, have started doing some improvising, and want to basically sort of expand their ability and their knowledge in terms of how to improvise over a given song or a given key. And that is basically talking then about modes. And I've been playing guitar for a while, and whenever I heard somebody mention modes, I immediately was like, nah, that sounds really complicated. That sounds like math. I don't want to do math. I just want to play guitar. Well, actually, it's actually really, really, really quite simple. A mode is just a different scale than the major scale of whatever key it is you're talking about, but it's not really a different scale. Let me show you what I mean. So let's start with just a C major scale. A C major scale is the easiest scale in the world. It's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, that is actually a mode into itself. The major scale is a mode. It's the first mode, called Ionian. They all have Greek names, doesn't really matter. So the first mode is in C. The second mode starts on the second note of the C major scale, which is, of course, D. Now, in that mode, and in all subsequent modes, there's 7 of them, you play the exact same notes that you play in the C major scale. You just start from a different root. So instead of playing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, we play D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Every one of those notes is contained in the first mode, which is the major scale, but you're just playing them on a different root. The third mode, then of course, would start on the third note of the C major scale, which is E. And that's called Phrygian, and don't really play it that much. It doesn't really work too well over most sort of contemporary or even classic rock, pop, jazz kind of stuff. But the fourth mode, which is called Lydian, is really nice, and that starts on F, and it goes like this. The fifth mode, which is called Mixolydian, slides up one more note on the C major scale, and that starts in G, and that sounds like this. Again, all I'm doing is playing G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Same notes as the C major scale, just starting from a different root. And then sort of lastly, the mode that's important for you to know as a guitar player is what typically you learn is called the relative minor. And the relative minor of C is, of course, A minor. So that's the sixth mode, and that's called Aeolian, and that has a nice minor feel to it. So now you might say, okay, great. What does that matter? Who cares? Why in the world do I need to know anything about these kinds of things? Well, let me show you on a sort of real-time basis, playing against a backing track in C, how playing in those modes can really alter and shift how your soloing affects the overall feel of the song. And once you kind of get a hang of understanding some of the scale patterns of the different modes, man, you can jump all around the fretboard and you can make yourself sound like almost, a real pro guitar player if you practice enough. So let me turn this on, and I'm just going to call out the different modes as I'm playing over it. This is just an acoustic backing track. It's in C, so I'm going to start in C. Now I'm going to go to Dorian. Back to the C. Now I'm going to jump to G Mixolydian. Dorian. Back to the major. So all I did was I just jumped around in different modes. And because A minor is the relative minor, is the Aeolian mode of C, I can just play an A minor all day if I want to. But I don't want to do that. So I'm going to jump up to G Mixolydian. So that's just a really easy example of how jumping around, really all you're doing is replicating the C major scale, but you're doing it in different modes. And the reason they're called modes is because they alter the overall vibe of the song. And you don't have to memorize them. I downloaded a handy music modes chart from the internet, and I'll place the link to that in the comments. So if you want to play to a YouTube backing track and it's in G, then you can just look at this chart and it'll tell you G major. The Mixolydian mode for that is D. Now you could figure that out by doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes out of the G major scale, but this just makes it really easy and really handy. So I hope that maybe helped a little bit, and happy soloing and happy improvising.